is Hot Licks ice cream. We just ordered downtown Fairbanks. It's a hot day. We did some hiking this morning, 2 trails. Now we're having ice cream, and then we're going to Chena Hot Springs to do some hot bath.
One.
The soft serve is really good. The waffle cones are really good. And the peppermint with aurorium is good. But Arnold's not eating anything. He's listening to an audiobook.
Chena Hot Springs was first reported by Felix Pedro, who encountered them while prospecting for gold in the upper part of the Chena River in 1905. In 1906, George Wilson homesteaded the springs, which rapidly became a very popular resort and health spa for the residents and miners of interior Alaska. Originally, the hot springs issued from the channel of Cold Spring Creek, but now the creek has been diverted and the larger springs flow into man-made pools. With the decline of mining activities in the Fairbanks area, the use of the springs decreased until Carl Wilson purchased the original homestead in 1953. Upon Mr. Wilson's death, Chena Hot Springs was purchased and is being developed as a resort where both the mind and body can be refreshed. Thermal irregularities are thought to be caused by molten rock which is moved up into the Earth's crust. Heat from this magma is conducted through the rocks towards the surface and heats water which is circulating to a considerable depth through pore spaces and fractures in the rocks. The heated water, as it rises to the surface, transfers thermal energy to higher levels in the crust, where it is utilized by man in areas such as Chena Hot Springs. The hot springs are only accessible by adults 18 years and older, so the children can only go to the swimming pool and the hot tubs. Aside from just living in the hotel and resort and enjoy the hot springs, there are also different tours in the hotel. You can take your family to the ice museum, but it's closed in summer. Probably in wintertime, you'll enjoy the cold ice bar. You can also take your family to a geothermal power plant tour, which is right next to the hotel and resort. And also, they have dog marsh sled in winter and other activities. So lots of things to do in this area.
I think.
It's hot over in that other corner too.
Right.
Yeah, it's so hot over there.
Whoa, that's a giant bee.
It's a horsefly.
Whoa,
Wow.
it saved his life.
Yep.
There are a few dead bugs in the hot springs. The nice lady just killed a horsefly on her husband's shoulder. Horseflies are dangerous. They suck blood out of horses, but of course, they're delicious human beings' blood. They would not hesitate to keep their bite. There are 2 other ponds next to this big human pond. Those are for mooses and ducks. A couple of ducks had 9 babies in the pond next door. And also, there are trails around the hotel and resort that the tourists can walk up to aurorium to watch the aurora when the season comes, and also to hike uphill to the dome or take a trolley bus to the Angel Rocks trailhead and hike the Angel Rock. Essentially, there are a lot of mosquitoes around the hiking trails, like anywhere else in Alaska in summer. But the weather is quite enjoyable, and you have the hot spring right next door. Also, I would strongly encourage everyone to have a full meal and drink a lot of water before you step into the hot springs, because I dipped myself in the springs for about 45 minutes. By the time I came out and took a shower, I almost passed out. I think I was suffering from dehydration, and I was starving because I had breakfast at about 11 o'clock. And after I'm done dipping myself into the hot spring bath, it's almost 5:30 in the afternoon. As the fame of the hot spring spread, Alaska's delegate to Congress, Judge James Wickersham, asked the Department of Agriculture to analyze the waters. The Bureau of Chemistry analyzed 3 pins and concluded that the water was different from any American hot springs previously examined. The principal characteristics of the Chena Hot Springs waters consisted of its content of sulfate, chloride, and bicarbonate of sodium. In fact, it was very similar to the waters of a famous hot springs in Bohemia. Today, Chena Hot Springs Resort enjoys a clean, healthy, and beautiful natural environment and continues to welcome people from all over the world to bathe in the curative powers of the hot waters. The resort is located approximately 60 miles northeast of Fairbanks, accessed year-round on the state-maintained road via Chena Hot Springs Road.
It feels good.
The resort has a very good restaurant, but the water in the restaurant that they serve have a strong smell of sulfur. So we also ordered a Dr. Pepper for the boys. Usually they will stay with water in any restaurant they go to, but I think nobody can stand the smell of sulfur in the water. So be aware of that when you order. And the waiter is extremely busy. He constantly forgets what we ordered, and we have to remind him. But at the end of the day, he gave us a dessert for free, the famous creme brulee, and it tastes really good.
This is Chena Hot Springs, but this one is a hot tub.
This is the dinner dishes we ordered. This is halibut fried fish and chip. And this is actually pho, the Vietnamese noodles, and scallops. And we also ordered a shrimp scampi and pear and apple salad and steamer clams. And this is a New York ribeye steak. The food is delicious, as I said, but the waiter, you have to be really patient with the waiter. After dinner, we hiked around the area and we saw a goat in the barn. Actually, 2 of them.
Scratching himself.
He was scratching himself against the barbed wire. I'm pretty sure he got mosquito bites on him. Poor thing. Suffering as human beings suffering. Mosquitoes are the king and queens in this valley.